Welcome to Dil Ki Recipes on your favorite social media platform. Hi, I'm Dr. Sheeza Mohsin, executive coach, relationship expert, and your coach in this virtual space to support you and your Desi family in America. If you identify as being a person of color, a minority, and having some form of bicultural identity, a major goal of putting this information out is to help you realize you're not alone in this journey. If you identify as a Desi with cultural roots in Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and surrounding areas, trying to meet your life and relationship needs and desires while embracing some beautiful elements of your cultural heritage, Dil Ki Recipes is for you. If you don't identify as a Desi, but have a warm, loving, human being kind of disposition and you want to better yourself, I think you'll find some good stuff in here as well. So let's go on with the show. Hi there. So today I'm going to talk about a complaint I hear from parents and kind of adult kids all the time. What I hear from the younger generation is, oh my goodness, my parents are trying to micromanage me and I don't have the freedom to make my decisions to do X, Y, and Z things, whether it is moving and whether it is living in a place, whether it is being in a relationship with someone. Parents are getting frustrated about needing to get involved. And so it brought about the idea, which is popularly known as adulting. And I want to talk a little bit about some signs that will tell you that you are on the path and also give you a little bit of a framework for what you should be working towards. And I promise you, the 7 things that I talk about, if you are generally on point in those areas, then absolutely, you are right. Your parents need to back off and let you make those big decisions about your life, about your romantic life, about moving and all those big things that you want to do. So, adulting for real, one very, very fundamental basic element that confirms for the universe that you are an adult is that you have a job. I know it sounds very, very basic. And a lot of times Gen Zs will come to me and say, well, I'm in college. And I will tell you, based on lots of research, based on what I've observed, college may not be for everyone. Completing college may not be for everyone. And while it's an absolutely wonderful thing, and for those of you pursuing it are on your way to something amazing, but you have to know that a job is what gives you that stability to call yourself an adult. What does that mean? That's not just getting a job, that's keeping a job. So if you are able to get jobs, but you keep losing them 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, then that's something you want to work on. A lot of times I also hear things like, well, I don't have fun in my job and I don't enjoy it. And I will tell you that's a very, very overrated thing. And many of us are fortunate and love our jobs, but many of us don't. It is a way to make an income and an earning that feeds your lifestyle. So it's great if you find it fun, but even if you don't find it fun, those are things you have to do. And believe me, I'm sure many of you have parents who don't love their jobs, but they do that because they have to provide. They have to make sure that the bills are paid, which comes to my second checklist item of whether you are an adult and you are adulting and on that path is if you have, cha-ching, a savings account. If you know how to save money. A lot of research has been done between people who stay in poverty, people who stay in lower economics, and a lot of times it's not because of hard work. It's about knowing how to build wealth and how to save money. Money saved is money earned. How conscientious are you about keeping the money that you have, about being mindful on not spending, about being creative and getting away with spending money excessively. So being able to save. And so the classic formula that you hear from many experts is 50% of your earnings a lot of times are going towards housing, 30% on lifestyle, and 20% on saving. So if you are able to save money, and I'm not saying from the get-go you are able to save 20%, but that you have that goal that ultimately you want to be in a place where you're earning enough or spending in a way that you're able to save at least a good 10 to 20% of your earnings, then you absolutely can qualify as an adult. So that was number 2. The third one is doing things independently. What do I mean by that? Are you taking care of renewing the registration of your car? Do you take your own doctor's appointments? Do you file your taxes yourself? Did you look for an apartment for your independent living? Even if you're sharing with a friend, are you on your lease? Are you doing all of those things that a responsible adult needs to do to maintain independent living. So there are lots of markers in that space where are you reasonably doing a lot of those things on your own. That definitely qualifies you as an adult, has earned their right to make their own decisions. The fourth one that I want to talk about is health. And that's physical health and mental health. Because remember, if you don't live a balanced life, if you are working too hard and then partying too hard, or you're working too much, not even partying, but you're not eating healthy, you're not taking care of yourself, you're isolating, don't have balance in life where you're working out or seeking community or have a social life, you are just making yourself very vulnerable to not being well. That is not a fun thing. So making sure that you are taking care of yourself in that way makes you a responsible adult. So you're not working so hard that then you become sick and then mom or dad have to rescue you or somebody has to take care of you. So are you maintaining your health, your well visits? If you're struggling with something emotionally, are you going for therapy or for counseling? Very important things for you to consider. And it kind of leads me to number 6, and that is what makes you an adult is if you start building your own network of resources. If you're building your own community of people you can lean on to help you. These would be friends, these would be neighbors, these would be family members, relationships you have invested in. It could be colleagues. Are you building that goodwill that makes you the good Samaritan? The good neighbor, the good friend. So when you have those opportunities of leaning on someone, there are people there for you. So it's really, really important that you be mindful and intentional and not reach out to people only when you need them. You have to manage your life in a way that you are available to others when they need you. So that community building, that resource building, not just leaning on your parents' contacts, building your own relationships, doing your own part in maintaining those relationships and investing in them so you can lean on them. It's a big part of adult life. So if you are working towards that goal, and again, I'm not saying that you have to be an expert in those things, but there is a plan and there is a goal to make sure that those things are on their way. And that actually leads me to having a plan, having those long-term goals. What's the deal? What are you going to be doing? What is the long-term plan? If you are living day to day, month to month, figuring out, well, I can eat here and I can, mooch off of this one, I can freeload here, that really is not a long-term plan. You have to figure out some goals. Is my goal to maybe buy a home or settle somewhere or to have a career or this kind of income or, having those goals just makes the chances of you achieving them so much higher. And if you are living life unintentionally, that's not successful adulting. There are many adults who live life unintentionally, but you want to make sure that you are thinking about that. Another element that I want to talk about that is critical is knowing when to get help. A lot of times we think that when you're an adult doesn't mean that you may not need anyone or need help. It's actually the contrary. The more you have on your plate, the more you may find yourself in situations when you need to access other people to help you. And knowing that time, instead of letting ego and pride take over and saying, I can do this by myself, might put you in a vulnerable space where you might suffer more. So it's really, really important that you be okay while you're working on these amazing goals. And even if you're working on half of what I've just listed, that's a fantastic, fantastic part of your journey. Just continue seeking help till you are able to do things more on your own. I think adulting is a wonderful journey. It's not a fun journey sometimes. So remember that. But what it gets you, what it earns you is the freedom to do what you want, the freedom to spend how you want, the freedom to live life the way you want. So having those goals for even indulgences that you want when you reach those milestones, when you sign that first lease, when you are able to say that you have 6 months of savings in your savings account, and if you lose your job, you can survive individually, independently, without making major alterations in your life for 6 months. Those are some fantastic things you're working towards. Then it makes sense to be in a romantic relationship that's more permanent, where you can take care of someone. Not a romantic relationship for convenience because you want to share rent with someone. Hope you found this valuable. And here's a message for parents. Parents, if you notice your kid is working on these things, please be supportive. Please don't give them too much feedback on what they are not doing right. They're going to make mistakes. This is just the beginning of their journey. Be kind in your language. What comes out of your mouth lands very heavy on your kids. So please, and I know as a parent, we make mistakes all the time, and sometimes the right things don't come out of our mouths. But correct it, course correct, show love. Make sure you're supporting and encouraging these kiddos to become independent individuals, contributing to society, to community. So everyone, have a wonderful day, and I will be talking to you very soon. Please remember to keep listening and watching as part of your weekly self-care and learning ritual. You know there are lots of commonalities in our lives, relationships, in our joys and struggles. And my hope is that this material will help you expand your perspective, give you some clarity on how to think about things, and ultimately make you feel better and sorted about your life and relationships. Hope you have a fulfilling and wholesome day.